Let's review the weekend. And I guess the Orioles did not get swept.
You are Locked On A's, your daily Oakland A's podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, A's fans. Welcome to Locked On A's, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day. This is the daily podcast. We talk about your Oakland A's all year long. I am your host, Paul Francis Sullivan. Please, as my lower third can tell you, you're free to call me. Where is it? You can call me Sully. I've been a baseball podcaster for well over a decade now, and this is my sixth full season here at the Locked On Podcast Network. Normally, I'm the host of Locked On MLB. I'm just still doing that. I'm doing 10 episodes a week. Why? Because I'm a little bit crazy. Now, I'm 5 episodes of Locked On A's, 5 episodes of Locked On MLB. Maybe I'll do 6. Maybe I'll do that later. Follow us at Locked On A's on Twitter or whatever it's called now. And on Instagram, I'm your pal Sully, but Sully Baseball on Twitter, Sully Baseball Podcast on Instagram. If you're using any of those social media sites to say hello to us, hey, why not put on that hashtag Everyday A's? It gives us an idea of who's following us every single day. Today's episode of Locked On A's is brought to you by Tax Network USA. Did you know it's never too late to resolve your tax issues with the IRS? Don't wait. Reduce your tax debt and get help with a team of licensed tax professionals. Call 1-800-549-1000 or visit tnusa.com/lockedon. So let me tell you what today's show is going to be all about. I am reviewing the weekend of games, and I'm doing it the way I like to do it here on Locked On A's because, I don't know, I'm told that people don't listen to podcasts over the weekend. I do. I listen to them like crazy, but giving myself a little bit of a tiny bit of a respite over the weekend. I break them down like this, and if you're new to the show, you probably already know this. I'll do 3 segments. Segment 1, we cover the Friday game. Segment 2, we cover the Saturday game. Segment 3, we cover the Sunday game, and then we have ourselves a show, and then it's all fun and games. Going into the opening game against Baltimore, the A's were the best team in baseball in July, and it wasn't even close. They were a juggernaut. People were wondering, is this better than the Finley A's? As if the Bash brothers all over again. They're holding up a finger to Moneyball. This is the A's that we've been waiting all year for. And the Orioles were coming into town, and I pointed out the other day that Suarez is a nice story, the starting pitcher for Baltimore, but he is essentially a quadruple A player who had a good first half. And there was no reason, because he had a couple of nasty starts recently, that the A's couldn't put him back on his heels. And what are the 3 things that I say the A's cannot do? They cannot just rely on solo home runs. They can't allow the other team to have that one bad inning. And as I stressed the other day, other teams may have more talent. Other teams may have a bigger payroll. But you don't make errors. You don't do dumb things. You don't swing at dumb pitches. And you make the other team beat you with their talent, because there's no other way that they can beat the A's. And so naturally, what happened on Friday? The A's scored 2 runs, each on a solo homer. And they committed 3 errors, and one was a critical one. On the stolen base to third, the throw goes into left field, and the go-ahead run comes in, and then a bases-loaded walk makes it 3-1, and that was it for Baltimore scoring. The 2 runs that they scored in that second inning were bonehead moves. Error by the catcher, bases-loaded walk with 2 outs. And throughout the game, the A's had runners on and runners on and runners on. They could not push that. They had a runner on third with 1 out in the 8th inning. And all they had to do, a deep fly ball, a ground ball, sorry to scratch my nose, a ground ball to second, a ground ball up the middle, and that run comes in. That's the sort of thing, like when they won those games against the Angels, They got the big hits right there. And again, Suarez has had a nice year, but there's a reason he's been in the minor leagues the last 5 years. You got to jump on him. They were gift wrapping rallies, especially that 8th inning. Just a deep fly ball, and the game is tied going into the 8th. And Craig Kimbrell came out in the 9th. Can we pump the brakes on calling Craig Kimbrell a Hall of Fame closer? I'm sorry. I've witnessed Craig Kimbrell for a bunch of years. He's a fine pitcher who's had a terrific career, but he's also part of the closer generation where you just pile up saves. This is me being a little old school. I have a hard time looking at his save total and the save totals of the Quisenberries and the Lee Smiths and the Rich Gossage and the Raleigh Fingers of the world, who had to pitch multiple, and the Bruce Suitors of the world who pitched multiple innings. It wasn't just always, you're going to pitch the 9th with a 3-run lead. I can't tell you how many times Craig Kimbrell has come up short in big moments. There's a reason the Red Sox removed him from the closer role when it came to clinching the World Series in 2018. He made everyone squirm and wiggle in their seats. Some very, I'm not saying he's a bad pitcher. There's a big gray area between bad and the Hall of Fame. And Craig Kimbrell exists in that. He was had a wonderful career. There are Hall of Fame closers. Obviously, Rivera's a Hall of Fame closer. I think Billy Wagner belongs in the Hall of Fame. If you look at not just the save total, I think the save is one of the single most overrated stats in baseball. But the other numbers around it show that he was an elite closer. I don't know, maybe someone's going to throw a bunch of numbers at me, but I've always seen Kimbrell as being a beatable pitcher, and he was throwing the ball all over creation. I was watching the game with my mother-in-law. There was a couple of pitches went in the dirt, swinging away at it. And I said, what are they playing, cricket? You have a chance. I mean, this is part of it. You're swinging at dumb pitches. You can't get a runner in from third with 1 out in the 8th inning, where that would have tied the game. The importance of a series like this, when you're trying to play spoiler, is win that first game. This was the winnable game for the A's. Now, of course, they could win Saturday and Sunday, and you all know what happens. But, I don't want the fun of the Angels sweep to die yet. And I saw there were plenty of chances, because give the A's pitching credit after the stupid second inning. The Orioles, who you may not realize this, they're one of the best teams in baseball. In terms of the win-loss percentage, they, I think only the Philadelphia Phillies are ahead of Baltimore in terms of percentage. And by the way, at the beginning of the year, I picked the World Series to be Philadelphia versus Baltimore. Not saying I'm Nostradamus. I'm just stating facts. But you can't allow the other team to, essentially, the Orioles earned 1 run. You gave them 2. And they were trying. They were on a silver platter, a chance to tie the game. And they didn't. And so here we are. So the Saturday game is going to start this afternoon. I'm toying with the idea of actually going to the game. I think tickets are available. Medina versus Povich. Is it Maury? I'm going to be honest with you. I follow baseball pretty closely. I have no clue who Povich is. I bet I may, if I go to baseballreference.com, the greatest website of the history of the planet Earth, it may jog my memory. But sitting here right now, I can tell you, not familiar. So let's go A's. Enough of this. Let's win the game. Let's not play stupid baseball. You held the Orioles scoreless for 7 innings, and they were handing you the game. Let's not do this again, shall we? All right, when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about Saturday. Here at Locked On A's, we pride ourselves on giving you the latest news for the A's, whether it's the offseason, the draft, spring training or the playoff. It's year-round. Do what else is year-round? Collection seasons. Just because tax season is over doesn't mean the IRS will stop coming after you for unfiled taxes. The IRS can garnish your wages, levy your bank accounts, and seize your property. Don't let the IRS target you. Let the licensed professionals and tax expert at Tax Network USA go to bat for you. You know, I've worked for a bunch of media companies and creative companies where sometimes they pay you in cash or with a personal check. And almost always it's a situation where it's a 1099, which means the taxes aren't taken out. If you don't have people like the good folks of Tax Network USA working for you, you could get absolutely steamed on April 15th owing taxes. That's why you need them. And these are smart people. They got 14 years of experience and an A+ rating at the Better Business Bureau. Tax Network USA has saved clients over $1 billion in tax debt. So whether you owe taxes, have complicated matters like I've had with those 1099s where you finally hit that big parlay this season and you need help filing correctly, do you know what? Call 1-800-549-1000 or visit tnusa.com/lockedon. Be sure to mention Locked On A's at checkout. You'll receive $250 of discount of their services. Tax Network USA, have them go fight for you. Prize Picks is America's #1 daily fantasy sports app with more than 5 million active members. Prize Picks is the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports, and unlike other apps, on Prize Picks, it's just you versus the numbers. Get in on the daily action with your friends and become a part of the Prize Picks community today. If you want promotions, Prize Picks has you covered this week, from lowering select player stats projections on Tuesday to help your lineup hit, or getting entry fees back when you have a losing lineup on Friday. You can now win up to 100 times your money on Prize Picks with as little as 4 correct picks. You can turn $10 into $1,000. So download the Prize Picks app today. Use code LOCKEDONMLB for a first deposit match up to $100. That's code LOCKEDONMLB on Prize Picks for a deposit match up to $100. Pick more, pick less. With Prize Picks, it's really that easy. Hey, where's your hub to get all of your good sports news, takes, and analysis? Make the switch to Locked On Sports today, a free 24/7 sports streaming channel programmed to bring you the biggest sports stories of the day. Locked On Sports Today brings you can't-miss analysis, opinions, and news, streaming 24/7 on YouTube or on the free Amazon Fire TV channel app, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day. So, let's just talk about Saturday, shall we? More games like that, please. It was 3-0 before I really knew what was happening. I actually was running some errands yesterday. So I heard the 3-run homer in the first. And then I had to go run an errand, and I was at the checkout. I didn't want to have, my things in my ear going, hold on, Langoliers is up. I had to focus on what I was doing. And I figured, all right, A's are up 3-0. Run this errand, get back in my car. By the time I get in my car, it'll be the second inning and da-da-da-da-da. And by the time I finished doing that shopping and got back in my car, it was 6-0. And I'm like, hold on, I better not go anywhere here. And I listened to the rest of that second inning. I heard the Langoliers single and the Geloff double, and then Harris single. The next thing it was 10-0. Now, here's the funny thing. Yesterday, I toyed with the idea of going to the Coliseum. I thought, I kind of have a free day on Saturday. Why don't I just go to the A's game? And the fact of the matter is, 2 things stopped me. A, I saw a chance to get some errands done and check some things off my proverbial to-do list so I could have a relaxing Sunday before my long weekend is over. But the other thing, it's bloody hot here in the Bay Area. It just was hot. And I thought, you know what? The idea of sitting in the Oakland Coliseum and being baked and probably watching the A's lose just is not good. The last time I went to an A's game, they won 20-4 against Miami. If I'd gone yesterday, then I would have seen there was a pattern that my presence causes for blowout victories. But I wasn't there. I thought long and hard about doing it. I am going to be going to a bunch of games pretty soon. But I heard the Langoliers home run, and Then the Nevin home run was in the 4th. And by the time Andujar got drove in a couple more, it was 14-1. I have to be honest with you. When the game was 12-1, I still was a little bit nervous. I've watched this team enough to know that the story could be they had a 12-run lead and everything fell apart. It really, for whatever reason, once it got to 2 touchdowns, I was like, okay, this is all right. And now by the end, the Baltimore started to score some runs. They scored 3 in the 7th, and they chipped away a little bit. But O'Loughlin and McFarland, the law firm of O'Loughlin and McFarland, were just there to throw the final 4 innings and say, hey, do us a favor, don't let up 13 runs. They let up 7. They didn't let up 13. Now, by the end, McCann was pitching for Baltimore. I've said this a lot on Locked On MLB, that I think it should be part of baseball that if you want to wave the white flag, you can. I think that if it's the 7th or 8th inning and you're losing by, 10 or more runs, basically, if a team says, I'm going to put a middle infielder or a catcher or whatever to pitch to save the game, I think that team should have the right to say, to sort of give a signal to the other dugout, say, like, we give. Do you agree to give? And the other team says, we agree to give, then the game's over. Because, and I know you're supposed to play to the last pitch and everything like that, but the Orioles didn't yesterday. The Orioles didn't play to the final pitch. They brought in a position player to pitch. And while it used to be kind of fun that like 1 or 2 times a year, a position player would come in and, pitch, and it was kind of a fun, goofy thing. But it's now become part of strategy, and it's no longer a novelty. And I'm not a fan of it. What if McCann hurt himself? I mean, yeah, I know he was lobbing batting practice, and the other McCann wound up hitting a home run, and that was fun, and everyone had a good laugh. But, what if you hurt yourself? Canseco hurt himself pitching in a mop-up situation when he was with Texas all those years ago. I don't know. I think a team should reserve the right to say, hey, look, we give. And the other team has to agree. Because if you have a situation like Jose Miranda getting all those, consecutive hits, they're like, no, we're not giving up. We're going to give him another at-bat. But if you're bringing a position player to pitch, that's waving the white flag. And that's strategic. They're saying, like, hey, we're not going to use any more of our pitchers. This game's over. We'd rather be rested and ready for tomorrow. And the A's are rested and ready for tomorrow, too. Or I guess for today. I'm recording this Sunday morning. But I still think a baseball team should have the right to do that. Povich, maybe I made the joke. Was that Maury Povich? They might as well have had Maury. He let up 8 runs he got 3 outs. He pitched into the second. He didn't get an out there. 8 runs in 1 inning. Pitched Tate 4 runs in 2 innings. Irvin 5 runs in 4 innings. McCann was the best one. 2 runs in 1 inning. They should have had him pitch. Let's go down the line with the A's. And I like doing this because, you know what? There are not a lot of games like this, so let's savor it. Hey, for those of you who are still clinging to the concept of batting average, Cameron went 0 for 3. He had a terrible day, right? No, he got on base 3 times. He walked 3 times, and he scored 3 runs. And Duhar got on base 4 times. He got I know he got 1 double. Yeah, he got on base 4 times with a double, 3 runs batted in. The big hero was Rooker. And the reason I say the big hero was Rooker because he hit the home run right at the top, set the tone for the game. It was his 18th home run of the year. And there you go. He went 3 for 4. By the end, McCann pinch hit to go against the other McCann, and he homered. So out of the number 3 spot was a 4-for-5 performance with 2 home runs. Langoliers got a home run, and he added another hit. He drove in 3. Alvarez did not get a hit, but he did score a run. Geloff got the big double, drove in a pair of runs. Nevin went 3-for-5, and he got a double. Harris went 3-for-4. Schumann went 2-for-4, and he drove in 3 runs. Medina pitched okay. I mean, he let up 9 base runners in 5 innings, but he only allowed 1 run. So he kind of wiggled out of stuff, and the rest of the bullpen had the day off. O'Loughlin and McFarland pitched the final 4 innings. And with that, look at the A's may have lost a game. But as of this recording, only 2 teams in baseball have only 1 loss in the month of July. The Red Sox, who yesterday got torched with 3 home runs by Ben Rice of the Yankees at 3 home runs. So the Red Sox got torched, and so they're 4-1, and the A's are 4-1. So in the month of July, the 2 best teams are the Red Sox and the A's. And by the way, they face off pretty soon. But the best run differential in the month of July belongs to the A's. And the Pythagorean win-loss percentage, they're .830. They've scored 38 runs, and they've only allowed 16. Folks, I'm saying this. The numbers do not lie. In the month of July, the Oakland A's are the best team in baseball. And so, they're going to play on Sunday. Roll the dice. See what we got. Can they win this series against Baltimore? You already know the answer to that. But how cool would it be to just say, hey, we turned the page on an unbelievable garbage month of June. And now let's start winning some games. So, win today, then they will remain the best team in baseball for the month of July. I am feeling optimistic. I love sports, and I love them so much. I never want them to stop. But do you know what? That great period of time where you had the NBA and the NHL playoffs are down. There are fewer games, and the sports aren't sportsin' the way I want them to. But FanDuel lets me keep the sports going whenever I want. All I have to do is open up the app and dream up bets anytime I'm in the mood. This summer, FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a boost or a bonus daily. That's right. There's something for everyone every day all summer long. So head over to FanDuel.com and start making the most out of your summer. FanDuel is an official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball. This is a reminder that Locked On has created the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube. Now it's available on the Amazon Fire TV in the free Fire TV channel app. Locked On Sports stays here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day with local experts of Locked On, plus our national shows covering every league. Find Locked On Sports Today now available on the free Fire TV channel app. Well, the game just ended maybe about 10 or 15 minutes ago, and it was a frustrating loss. I'm not going to lie to you. This one stung a little bit because, well, the A's were put right on their heels. They're down 4 runs before they even come to bat. Santander homers in the first, and Kjerstad homers, and all of a sudden it's 4-0 before the good folks. The 14,000 there, nice sized crowd for Raleigh Fingers bobblehead doll. Down 4 bagel before the game even begins. And when you start the game like that, yeah, that's frustrating. That's a frustrating thing to happen. Here's where I'll give Spence and the rest of the A's some credit. Over the next 8 innings, they allowed 2 runs. And I know that's a little bit like, besides that, Mrs. Lincoln, how'd you like to play? But when you're down 4-0 before you take your first hacks, and the final score winds up being 6-3, they didn't give up. And I'll tell you what, my favorite play of the game was there was an aggressive tag from Brent Rooker, tag from third to score I think it was the second or the third run. And I liked that for this reason. one of the big problems the A's have had throughout this bizarre season has been relying too much on the long ball. And it turns out most of the time to be solo shots. And to see the A's, especially Rooker, who I think should be on the All-Star team, push it the way that he did and force another run in. I thought that was encouraging. I like that. I like that play. It showed there was some guts. So yeah, I wanted the A's to win the series. They didn't. The 2 games they lost to Baltimore. Obviously, the first game was very frustrating with the 3 errors. It was a super close game. They had a shot to win it, and they didn't. Today felt like if they had won today, and there was a couple points where they had the tying run at the plate where I felt like, oh my God, they're gonna tie it. I thought one moment if they had won today after being down 4 runs before they took their first licks, this probably would have been the win of the year. As it turns out, hey, they had a 6-game homestand and they won 4 of them. They put the Orioles on the heels a little bit, forced them to play hard. And if we're going to be going by our new beloved run differential, the A's outscored them. The A's outscored the opponents. The A's took 4 out of 6 at home. And, we gotta take the little victories that we can in a year like this. So it's the last time the Baltimore Orioles will ever come to the Oakland Coliseum unless the A's have a phenomenal final 3 months of the season and shock the baseball establishment, find themselves in the playoffs, win the wild card series, and face the Orioles in the division series or maybe even the league championship series. I would not go to FanDuel and bet that, but that's the outside chance right there. So there we go. There's going to be a day off on Monday. Then they play Boston. And we'll see how they do against the Red Sox because the Red Sox are an unpredictable team. Sometimes the Red Sox look like they're legit pennant contenders. And sometimes they look like they are a faceplant away from losing a bunch of games. So we're going to see how they do against the Red Sox starting on Tuesday. Tomorrow, I am going to be answering some of our viewer questions. So if you have anything you want me to cover, talk about, or anything like that, send it to me on Twitter at Locked On A's, or the better way to get it is either at Sully Baseball, which is my Twitter handle, Sully Baseball Podcast, which is the Instagram handle, or the quickest way is just post them right here on YouTube. Go to the YouTube comments, whatever questions you have, comments you have, complaints about me, complaints about the A's, things you're hoping for, things you're not hoping for, things that make you happy, things that make you want to punch a Raleigh Fingers bobblehead doll, whatever it is. Post it down there and follow us at Locked On A's on Twitter or whatever it's called now. And on Instagram, I am your pal Sully. I'm at Sully Baseball on Twitter, Sully Baseball Podcast on Instagram. Capping hey, let's face it, it was a fun weekend. May not be as many wins as we were hoping. It was a lot of fun. This has been Locked On A's for the 8th day of July 2024. I am your host, Paul Francis Sullivan. Please call me Sully.